Something big is happening in marketing today. Entrepreneurs are growing faster than ever, getting hundreds of DMs in their inbox and building a business that they don't need a vacation from. And the reason behind this is because they're focusing on a new marketing method that allows them to have no funnels, no expensive ads, and even no sales calls. And in this video, I'm going to be walking you through the exact method that these coaches, creators, and entrepreneurs are using to blow up their businesses in 2025. Let's dive in. For those of you wondering, who is this devilishly charming, good-looking, red-headed Canadian? Well, my name is Kyler Miles, and I am a creator, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a husband, and I'm a stepfather. And I've been doing this for over 6 years. 6 years, I've been creating content for multi-millionaire entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, TEDx speakers, best-selling authors, podcast hosts, you name it, school game winners, the list goes on. I've been so lucky to work with all these incredible creative entrepreneurs. And the coolest thing that I've seen in the last 6 years is that their approach to marketing actually creates a business that they don't need a vacation from. I don't know about you, but I always dreamed of actually enjoying what I'm doing. The reason I got into entrepreneurship is because I didn't like the 9-to-5 grind. I didn't love working for someone else and having to request time off. I loved creating and designing a life fueled by what I want to do, when I want to do it, and how I want to do it. But really, a lot of coaches, consultants, and creators are still stuck working sometimes 10, 12 hours a day because they're focusing on old methods, old marketing that is not benefiting them. People like Toby, who after changing his marketing in 2 weeks got so many leads he didn't know what to do with. He was lost. It was crazy. Or people like Corey, who after 6 months of adopting a new marketing method, he tripled his business, which is just mind-boggling. Or the biggest success that I've seen is actually my mentor, Dan Bolton, who makes over $2 million a year working 4 hours a day, not having any funnels, any ads, or any sales calls. He closes them in the DMs, which is crazy. And so I want to walk you through some of the myths that you and I fell for in marketing and building a business, that actually brings you happiness, that brings you fulfillment, that brings you clients. Let's get real here. That's why you're watching this video. So without further ado, let's talk about the first myth. Myth number one, I have fallen for this so many times, is the hustle culture. How I got to where I am now is definitely from my work ethic. I remember pulling all-nighters to do certain projects and working 12-hour days and being proud of that. But all it resulted was me burning out and me realizing that I was working on things that didn't really move the needle. And it wasn't until I started reading books like Buy Back Your Time or watching YouTube videos around productivity that I realized that a lot of my time was spent on the wrong activities. And I bet you are doing this right now in your marketing. The time that you spend on marketing isn't actually generating an ROI. And so this is the biggest myth, is that hard work equals success. Hard work is required, right? If you want to build a life and a business in the top 1%, but it is not determining your success, because I know a lot of people who are busy and working hard, but are not successful. And so this is a big belief in change I had to really adopt, and not only in 2025, but last year as well. The second big myth that I learned was funnels do not equal success. So we are learned in marketing, right? One of the first terms we learn is funnels. Remember, you're one funnel away. Well, the result of many funnels, in my experience, have been really complicated, really expensive. They have like 50 steps, which is just like, it doesn't make sense to me. And it's very pushy. Like, you're pushing people into a process that they may not be ready for. And the result of funnels either makes leads buy or die. And so there's no real connection or trust being built. It's more transactional, which is not why we started our business. It's not what we want in our business. And if you're a bro scaler, or you're more of a CEO type that wants to run like 100-person business, and you're all about the numbers and you're all about volume, then probably this video ain't for you. And maybe that is the approach you want to do. But if you want a simplified business and built on marketing and fun and designing a business and a life that you don't need a vacation from, then this would probably be a better approach for you. The other myth is ads. So I love ads, okay? I run ads, I still run ads, and ads are a great amplifier, but they are not a place to start at. So a lot of creators and coaches, they run ads with poor content or creative. And you see, I think of ads as like gasoline on a fire. If you pour gasoline on a fire, it's going to blow up. It's going to like skyrocket, probably burn off your eyebrows. But the reality is, if you don't have a spark, if you don't have a little flame, then there's no point in running an ad. If your content doesn't connect emotionally, doesn't connect logically, doesn't create buyers, then you're wasting your money by putting fuel on no fire. So it's just a waste. So the real thing about this myth is that ads are the solution to scaling your business. I know people that spend 20 grand on ads, where if they just had better content, they could probably spend like 2 or 3 grand and get the same results. And I'll share a story from Dan on this exact myth a little later in the video. The last one, myth number 4, that you probably think, and I thought for the longest time, because I actually came from the sales industry, was that sales calls were the only way to close. Unless you're selling B2C or selling a little $5 product, like you have to have sales calls. Like I was like, how else would you sell them? But the interesting thing that I found interviewing and working with these high-level entrepreneurs, that their marketing creates so much trust, so much demand, that they could sell in the DMs. I remember I signed up for Dan Martell's program, this guy right here, and I was talking to him in the DMs, and he's just asking me a few questions, and all of a sudden I'm giving him my credit card. And this idea that you don't need to have a sales call to really sell something is very crazy. It's kind of like, I almost can't believe it, but I've seen it so many times. I know it's true. This approach I'm taking this year in my own business is no more sales calls. Like, you don't need sales calls. Like, the reason businesses have such a strong sales team or focus on selling is because their marketing is so poor. So weak marketing equals harder sales. And that's really the method of what I want to teach you guys here. The opportunity that we have in 2025 to attract dream clients, to have them have so much trust in you that you don't need a sales call. The solution and the answer to building that is having so strong marketing that there's no choice to buy. Imagine if you can create marketing that you don't need to spend time on a sales call. You don't need to run ads. You don't need to have a funnel, because your marketing does all the heavy lifting for you. And that is the method that all these coaches and creators are adopting in 2025. Strong marketing equals easy sales. When you have strong marketing, clients are pre-sold. Here's why. Google did a study that it takes on average 7 hours for someone to build enough trust for them to buy from you. 7 hours. If you look at a traditional funnel, what's the funnel look like? There's an ad, to a landing page, to a book call, to a sale. There's not even 30 minutes of time in that funnel. So of course, the sales call is so hard. You have to become like an expert salesman because there's no trust. Versus the new method, you're making strong marketing and you're posting content that overcomes their objections, that educates them on the opportunity, that bridges the gap to where they are and where they want to go. And so when they get on a call with you, it's not even a sales call anymore. It's more of an onboarding call where maybe they have a few questions. It's like 10 minutes and they just want to like, hey, I want to make sure you're a real person or something. That's the power of strong marketing. The other thing is such a sustainable growth method, because when you have strong marketing, it creates a momentum. It's not transactional where if I post an ad, I get a result. You could post a video in a year, it could grow, right? It could start with 100 views, then 1,000 views, then 10,000 views, then 100,000 views, and even 1 million views if you've done it right. So it can build momentum over time and people can rewatch your content. So imagine if you could put out a sales call on the internet where people can watch, consume, and just be pre-sold. It's like a 24/7 sales rep, but people sleep on their marketing, and that's why sales is so much harder. And I know this because I was a salesperson for many, many years. Like, I went to school, I got a certificate and a diploma in professional selling and a major in marketing. When I came out the gate and graduated from post-secondary, I worked for numerous different companies. I sold Costco memberships, sold credit cards, sold high-ticket online services. I sold multiple six-figure software, and my whole job was selling. They paid me like a pretty good salary just to sell, but the reason that they had to have such a big sales team is because they just sucked at marketing. But imagine you flipped the script and your marketing was so good, you didn't have to have a sales team. You didn't have to have closers and setters and all this kind of complexity. It just be simple. And that's the power of strong marketing. So I know you're asking yourself, well, Kyler, how do I build strong marketing? Like, what am I supposed to say? What type of content am I creating? Where am I creating it? How am I creating it? Let me help you with this question. This video, I'm not going to walk you through exactly how to create the content, but I'm going to tell you a very good recommendation where I think you should start and where I started. So how I was able to work with School, which is the company that Alex Ramosi and Sam Ovens started, and how I got to meet all these multi-millionaire coaches and consultants was through podcasting, right? Podcasting was such an easy way to not only collaborate with people, but introduce me into new audiences. Like when I interviewed Dan, I got like hundreds of new followers and new prospects to come into my ecosystem in my world because they knew Dan. Or when I interviewed Ted, who is an investor in School. So many people who followed Ted got to go into my ecosystem, my network. So podcasting is a great collaborative tool, which is a big part of business. Business is built on relationships. So when you have a podcast, you're really diving deep and building strong relationships. Whether the interviewee, who the person you're interviewing, could be a potential client. Like imagine you're turning a sales call into a podcast. That's a cool hack to actually get clients. But really, reality is I want to tap into their audiences because I'm not always trying to sell the person who's in the seat. I more want to pick their brain to educate myself, which is another benefit. Little side note, you get free coaching when they come in your podcast, but you get to tap into their network. So it's such an easy way to amplify your growth in your marketing and your awareness and your attention because you're using other people's audiences. The next thing is trust. We talked about the 7-hour rule from Google. Well, you're going to be spending a lot of time with this person, 45 minutes, an hour, sometimes long. Like Joe Rogan does 3-hour-long podcasts. You wonder why he has such a strong fan base and everyone knows who he is because people get to know him. They get to like him. They get to see all the things that he likes to talk about. So you build tremendous trust when you have a podcast. The other thing is you have to position yourself as an authority. I don't know about you, but when I'm scrolling TikTok or Instagram or Facebook and I see a podcast clip, like a short form clip from a podcast, I instantly trust them. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they're talking about yet. And I just trust them because they're on a podcast. And that's the power of having a show, is that you have more trust than some other person who's just talking to the oblivion. The next big benefit of having a video podcast is it's evergreen, right? So unlike short form content or other pieces of content, I view them as like windows. Like you pass by a window, you might glance, you might go in, but it's a window and opportunity. And rarely do you go take steps back to view the past windows you've seen. I save videos all the time on TikTok and Instagram. I never go back. I almost like forget it's there. But for YouTube or for podcasts, like the people I follow on my Spotify podcast or YouTube, like I am true fans. Like I listen to almost every single podcast that they do. And I bet you if you listen to podcasts or you watch podcasts, there are certain people who you watch almost every single episode because you spent so much time with them. And the last and probably like coolest thing about podcasting is it's a huge resource for repurposing. What do I mean? So we hear all the time from gurus that we need to be omnipresent. We need to be everywhere. We need to be on LinkedIn, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, blogs, everything. And the challenge is that creating one piece of content for all those things is very time consuming. Like I don't do that, right? And I create content for a living. And so a great way to be omnipresent while saving a bunch of time is by repurposing your podcast into other forms of content. Why? Because in an hour, you probably have some quotes that you can turn to tweets. You probably have some clips that you can turn to short form TikTok or Reels. You probably have some, spiels or you answered a question that could be a YouTube tutorial. Like someone asks you, how do you start a podcast, Keller? Well, let me take you through the steps. And I spend the next 10 minutes telling you how to start a podcast. That could be its own video inside the podcast. So it is an amplifier of content. So it's an amplifier of time. It's an amplifier of content. It's such a powerful medium. What I love is I don't have to prepare all that much for a podcast. Like in YouTube world, a lot of people use scripts. So they spend like hours and hours writing scripts, critiquing scripts, and then memorizing scripts. And it's a whole production. And there's a lot of effort that comes to it. But with a podcast, it's low effort. It's a simple conversation. It's more laid back. I can sip my coffee. I have an authentic and real connection, a real conversation with you, because that's what a podcast is just documenting conversation. And so if you want to learn how you can use podcasting to amplify your reach, to amplify your trust, and to grow a business that you don't need a vacation from, because clients are coming to you, they're eager to work with you, then this is where you should start. Start with the messaging. Step number one in podcasting is not about the equipment. It's not about the show name or the description or the cover art. Don't start there. Start with the message. What is the message that you are articulating to your audience? What is that blurb? What is that sentence? So I want to create a business that I don't need a vacation from, meaning that it's easy, it's effortless, it's fun, it's energetic. Versus how I've ran my business, in the past and up until now, it's been stressful, working long hours, losing sleep, not seeing my family or friends. Like that doesn't sound enjoyable. That doesn't sound fun. Even if I'm making money, it's not the business I want. So that is the message that I'm sharing. And my purpose and my vehicle for helping people achieve that is through marketing, building strong marketing so you don't have to worry about all the other things that make business kind of shitty, kind of sucky. And so when you have distilled marketing, when you actually create magnetic marketing that connects with people, that goes into the root of what they want, they're going to resonate and listen to you. See, magnetic messaging starts with understanding your purpose, understanding your perspective. So my perspective in this entire video is that marketing is on easy mode. Now, by creating YouTube focused content, podcasts, that marketing is going to become effortless. And the result of that effortless marketing will mean my business will be more fun, more predictable, more impactful, because I'm actually pouring more of my time and energy into the thing that I love. All that said is that your messaging is the most important aspect of your podcast, of your content. It doesn't matter if you have all the best equipment. You can have a $15,000 camera, the best mic, the best lighting. If your messaging sucks, then no one will resonate, no one will connect with you. It won't matter. So focus on your messaging, focus on your purpose, focus on your perspective, and focus on the person that you're trying to reach, and what is the promise that you're delivering them. So my promise to you is that if you focus and you build strong marketing, your sales will be effortless. That is the overarching message I'm trying to convey. And so people who resonate with that will listen, and people who don't will not, and that's fine. They can go watch Alex Mosey if they want to, the bro scale method. The next thing you want to set up is not a funnel, but a marketing flywheel. The difference between a flywheel and a funnel is that a funnel pushes people through a process that they are not ready for, right? You're going like this. This is what a funnel does. This is the client. This is you. You're pushing them like this, and they are not ready for it, and thus leads either buy or they die. In a flywheel, you're inviting people into your flywheel, and they decide when they want to take the next step. And so it builds momentum, it builds trust. And so when you post a piece of content and you say, hey, if you want to learn more, here's how, and you guide them through the next step, and they are taking upon themselves to go through the flywheel, not the funnel. And to set that up, I'll dive deep more into how to set up and build a flywheel in other videos. So make sure you subscribe, you hit the bell so you never miss a video. But take a look at the next video after this, because we'll actually touch on that more. But for now, let's get back to the process. The next thing I do before I even invest in equipment or, all the bells and whistles of a podcast, is understand what is my mechanism for selling. Like for me, I have a goal of no sales calls in 2025. That is my goal. I want to have no more sales calls. I want people to be either bought in or they need to be nurtured. So in order to do that, I have to replace it with a mechanism to sell them, whether that's a VSL, whether that's a YouTube video that educates them just like this on kind of my methodology, my process, what I can help them with, or a doc, or even like a webinar. Webinars still work very, very well if you build enough trust and momentum to get people to that webinar or a workshop, something like that. You just need a mechanism to sell them. Doesn't matter what it is, it just has something to do that you believe in, that you would want. Ideally, you do it once and it's done forever. That's why I love more filming videos, is because then it's a 24/7 sales rep, right? Anytime, day or night, people can watch that video and buy my product, my services, because they watched that mechanism to sell. So if you do those three things, you will have crazy strong marketing that your sales become effortless. You won't need to invest in expensive ads unless you want to really amplify it, and you won't need to have sales calls. And so if you want the blueprint to this, right, you want to follow along and actually do this for yourself, then I have a link down below. It's a resource absolutely for free. All you need to do, give us your email and we'll send it to you right away, and you'll get access to the blueprint of how you can build strong marketing so you can actually get effortless sales. And the reason why we want effortless sales is, again, because when sales become effortless, then we focus on the thing that actually matters, the thing that moves the needle in our business, like client success, like getting our clients results and creating content that will bring more people to become clients to get better results. That's really the recipe for a great business. If that resonates with you, I highly recommend you download that resource, you subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be making videos like this every single week in 2025, and I can't wait. I'm so pumped and excited. This year is going to be the year that we build our dream businesses, and off the back of strong marketing. So without further ado, thank you so much for watching this. I really, really appreciate it. I will catch you in the next video. Peace.